And a judge has ordered Kilmar Abrego Garcia be immediately released from immigration detention. The administration is trying to send him to Liberia after first deporting him to El Salvador against the judge's order. Now a federal judge says the absence of a removal order prevents the government from deporting him at all.
Well, after a saga that has gone on for way longer than it ever should have, a federal judge has ordered the immediate release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, citing Abrego Garcia's initial wrongful detention in El Salvador, and then his second detention, which was done without lawful authority. So the deadline for release was set as no later than 5 p.m. Eastern time today. So he should be out by now. Cenk, before we get into the details though, your 2 cents on all this.
Yeah, so there's one piece of spectacular news here. The good news is about justice in this particular case. The better news is about the precedent overall. But I do want to note here real quick, Liberia, we're going to send the brother to Liberia. Why? This is just absolutely absurd. And then my favorite is the judge's reason for denying it. So let's get into it and then I'll do the comments.
Right, so just to quickly recap for our audience, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was taken from his wife and children. He was living in Maryland and then he was deported to the CCOT prison in El Salvador in March of this year. The Trump administration said that he was a member of MS-13, which has never been proven. In June, he was finally brought back to the United States, but only to stand trial for human trafficking charges that had been brought against him as part of this big PR campaign that the Trump administration was running to justify the fact that they detained and deported Abrego Garcia in the first place. He was later detained a second time by immigration officers. The federal government tried to deport him then to Liberia this time, but they were blocked from doing so. They also tried unsuccessfully to deport him to Uganda, Eswatini, and Ghana, even though Abrego Garcia's preferred country of removal was Costa Rica, and Costa Rica was actually offering him residence and refugee status. Of course, the Trump administration is not happy about this order. Tricia McLaughlin, the spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security, had this to say about the ruling. She said, "This is naked judicial activism by an Obama-appointed judge. This order lacks any valid legal basis, and we will continue to fight this tooth and nail in the courts." And Cenk, I have an update from our producers. Abrego Garcia's legal team has said that he has been released, so that is good to hear. What are your thoughts?
All right, excellent. Hey, they followed the judge's orders. That's amazing. Okay, so first of all, Uganda, Eswatini, Ghana. The judge said, basically, common sense here is going Ghana. No, we're not gonna send him to Ghana or Liberia for no reason at all. That's ludicrous, right? But my favorite is the judge saying, well, but the core of the ruling is because there is an absence of a removal order. Well, how are you gonna remove the brother if there's no removal order? Like, do we have any, like, does the Trump administration think that any laws apply at all to them, to their actions, to the government? Or is the government just like anarchy now? Who cares what the laws of America are, what the Constitution are? Okay, yeah, we don't have a removal order. So what? What do we need your stinking laws for? And we want to send them to where here? Throw a dart. Yeah, Ghana. Yeah, that's it. So, but now the good news. Hey, look at that. The system's working. And the judge is saying, no, you don't get to make up rules. You don't get to make up removal orders or make up countries you're gonna send them to. Do you have evidence? What's your evidence? Forget the evidence. No one even asked to remove them. There's no order to remove them. So what is this? What are you guys doing? And now there's been a stunning number of cases where the judges, Democratic, Republican, Trump appointed, doesn't matter, are coming back and going, this is not a thing. So like, get your act in order and come back in with at least some sort of argument based in the law, you buffoons. So, and they released him, as we just told you. That's breaking news happening right now. And so, look, what we were concerned about is not whether Donald Trump would try to stretch the law, the Constitution, etc. He's a guy who said we should terminate the Constitution after he lost in 2020. So that was never in doubt. And Trump is constantly testing boundaries for how far he can go, how much power he can seize for himself, extrajudicially, extra legally, etc. So the question was twofold. One was, are the courts gonna hold? And so far so good. By the way, they're not always gonna rule in our favor, and oftentimes they're gonna stretch to go to Trump's direction. That isn't the question. The question is, yes, but are they gonna roughly be within the scope of the law and the Constitution? And so far the courts have been. Number two is, yes, but when the courts order Trump to do something, is he gonna create a constitutional crisis and go, I don't need no stinking courts, I'm the guy with the guns because we're the executive branch. And so far he has not done that. I mean, he fights it all the way to the end, and then he complies at the end, and that's super important. Because if he crossed that Rubicon, we'd be having a completely different conversation. You know what TYT's always been about? Taking on the corrupt, greedy establishment. For us, it's the corporate media. We've been fighting that fight for over 20 years. For the cell phone industry, it's the same story. A handful of massive corporations ripping you off. That's why we're partnering with Noble Mobile. They're the only wireless company with the same mission as ours, to fight back. Their no bull plan offers unlimited data for just $50 a month. But here's the best part. For any data you don't use, you get cash back. Real money you can spend however you want. Stop letting your unused data pad the pockets of billionaires. With Noble, you take control over your data. And by switching to Noble, you're directly supporting TYT in our mission of bringing you honest, independent news. So give Noble a try and make the switch today. Scan the QR code on the screen now, or visit go.tyt.com/plan. That's go.tyt.com/plan. So those are two things that are great. And then lastly, Yaz, one of the questions we had, because media makes such a big difference in swinging public opinion and hence politics and elections, how would the Trump supporters that were independent broadcasters, podcasters, etc., react to abuses like this? And so far they've been terrific, with Rogan and Dylan and so many others going, no, nobody asked for these mass deportations and for you to pick up grandma and for you to make up laws and for you to send this guy to Timbuktu. It just, none of that makes sense, so cut the crap out. So both the independent media and the courts have held, and that's definitely great news.
Yeah, and I do think it's sad that whenever they actually did follow the court ruling, that was a victory for us, because you never know. There have been plenty of times when this administration has just disregarded court rulings in the past, and now they're going to continue fighting it, saying that they're going to fight this in the courts, and they really have no legal basis. Like, there's no way that they can win this, and they must know that, because this whole thing was fabricated in the first place as I said, a PR campaign, because they screwed up. They sent a guy away that they should not have sent away. And then they had to justify it, saying, yeah, we may have accidentally sent him to El Salvador, but he was a bad guy anyway, so it's fine. So
every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.